when Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi tells us that Gabindi told him that I think he mentioned quite a few drafts were exchanged. He was waiting for the final draft. Would he have referred to the exchange of drafts between you and Advocate Pakoli?
Well, I don't know what General Mkhwanazi was talking about.
No, he was talking about what Nkabinde told him.
Yes, I don't know what they discussed, whether they discussed up to that. I did have a conversation with Chief of Staff in terms of the substance of what they discussed. And they gave me a different version, which I will go to later on. But what I do know is that they did speak. I have said I didn't discuss directives with anybody else before I wrote them. I wrote them, but the matters that constitute substance behind each of those directives are well known to the people that you're mentioning. I could not discuss these directives with anyone for reasons that I've advanced. One of them, I've indicated that some of the people that are involved here were people who raised fundamental concerns with their safety. And I had to think, how do I, on one hand, bring them on board, and on the other hand, process their situation?
Input, they could guide you. You haven't answered that question.
Yes, let me answer. There is no IMC in the 7th administration, like which featured in the 6th administration as a structure that was presiding over the steering committee and any other structure below on the political task team. It doesn't exist in the 7th administration. That is a fact. Secondly, you don't run a department like that. You don't say, just because you have your colleagues, you are going to convene a meeting to discuss any aspect of your department. You discuss in cabinet, you discuss in cabinet committees, you discuss in any other committee or whatever structure that exists. That's how government functions. Now, you can't just convene. You are not president. You can't just convene and say, you are older than me in cabinet. I want you to come and discuss with me some matter. Doesn't work like that. Now, that's number one. Number two, I have indicated that I didn't breach any law. I do want us to have an agreement or a consensus that I didn't convene a meeting with General Masimula, General Mkhwanazi, and General Kumal doesn't constitute an offense in the department or anywhere or in the state. It doesn't. That's why I talk about, don't impose a feeling of guilt just because I didn't have a meeting with them. It doesn't work like that. If the discussions took a different form, it then means that it took a different form. If it was not adequate in the sense that it did not go for a full day or so, then so be it. But it shouldn't be registered in this ad hoc committee that I never made any statement for the need of review for the kind of situation that exists now, even though it is written in black and white that we did make policy statements in these meetings, and I'm putting that very strongly that these matters were raised in meetings. If they were not adequate, it means that time for adequate, focused discussions on the matter would have come. Remember, when I wrote this letter, I was 5 months into a 5-year term. But it wasn't necessary. And I'm still saying, I stand by my letter, and it was legitimate and it was proper that I raised this matter, because by then I had felt that we may even be breaching PFMA. And I needed to be able to be ready to say, when the year comes, I must be able to say, when I realized that there is that possibility, I didn't just keep quiet, even though we may be breaching the law. And that is important to me. That's important to me. So I consulted not on the disbandment, but on the need to review in whatever. But there were matters, as I say, that precipitated the writing of the letter of the 21st. But I did say, even though I decided on the 31st to do it, there were matters that couldn't allow me to consult on the basis of the risk that I explained yesterday. Because if I said this is one of the factors that are making me reach this decision, I couldn't discuss that at that time with them. I needed a particular platform, and this platform is one of those, and the platform in the commission is one of those appropriately created platforms where we can then discuss these matters which concern other people who are affected by matters in the political killings task team. And I'm happy with the two platforms, that they offer us a full spectrum. So I'm saying, don't reach any conclusion on the matter, because you haven't heard it all until everything that has been concluded is there. But I am saying very strongly, even if there was no full day, even if there was no meeting with the three generals that you are talking about, there were policy statements that were made in those two meetings, and they conveyed very clearly what my intentions as minister was, clearly, beyond any doubt, that I wanted a review, and it is based on work that was started in 2019, very clear. And I have shown that you couldn't have a double, you couldn't have a structure that you intend implementing, which caters for the work of the political killings task team, but still have the political killings task team. You can't say so. You can't have that. It would be irrational. In fact, if I would have been called to account, I wouldn't be able to account. Why do you keep this team when you have a structure that you are supposed to be implementing, which you could have implemented long ago? You don't implement it, but you just keep. And why do you keep a team that deals with matters of a limited category of people in South Africa?
Minister,
when the majority of people are being killed there, you don't have the same specialization. You can't do that.
With due respect, you've made the point. You made the point. Some of us may even agree with you. Some of us may even agree with you that, it should be, your resources should be spread not only evenly, but equally, so that all our citizens are protected in the same way. We may even agree with you, but we're talking about a specific matter here, a task team that was established, they say in accordance with the law. For the first time, you come and your lawyers come and say, actually, that team since 2022 was an unlawful structure. That's open to debate. We're not sitting as a court of law. We'll debate it. We've heard you. I've asked you about the interministerial committee. The short answer after your long answer now has been, it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
Under the 7th administration, it doesn't. So maybe you can tell us when or where, or in some cabinet committee meeting, or where this initiative of the president has now been abandoned. Maybe you can provide that to the committee. Our focus, so the short answer is that you didn't consult your colleagues. You say you've just been a few months into the position. One would have thought that's even more reason why you should have consulted your colleagues.
No,
because
I didn't have to consult them.
Speak? Just because one of the most important aspects, not only of the political killing task team, but of other specialist dedicated teams, is working together in a multidisciplinary way, which most people seem to accept is the most effective way of dealing with crime, is in a multidisciplinary way, and the contribution that a dedicated prosecutor plays in that role. Because that's one of the important things that the task team established. They have a prosecutor who directs and says, no, I think you need more evidence here. I think you need to get a statement from that one there. That is all directed by the prosecutor so that the case comes to court quicker. And when it does come to court, the case is ready for trial. Now, let me move on from that. I think I've got the answer that I asked you for, and the honourable members have heard your response, and if they want to take it further, they'll get the opportunity. Now, is it also your evidence that a number of task teams, and I'm asking you, the foreign vehicle task team, the multi-trio task team, the kidnapping and ransom team, the extortion team, the counterintelligence task team, the anti-gang task team, the cash in transit task team, this is called the knockout team. Before I make light of it, they seem to be an important, they concentrate on illicit mining. So maybe it's the Zamas and all that. The narcotics task team, the provincial tracing task team, and I think, the illegal mining task team. These task teams, do you accept they not on the organogram either?
Where are you reading from? Because
I'm reading from the Murray study, the 2024 study, which you'll find next to your statement.
No, they are in the they are in the organogram. But I have said the aim of the study group, of the study, the work study, was to reconfigure these standalone task teams, which they criticized and said, let us have a form of integration, which is reflected in the new structure. And I pointed at two main units. We don't call them, remove task teams, integrate them into units. And there are two units. They are called, one, serious and violent crimes, and which is murder and robbery. And there's a list there, it's reconfigured. And then there's organized crime unit. We're talking units now. We're not talking series of task teams, this team. It's integrated into units, which get to be part of the organogram, which gets to be budgeted for properly.
Okay. Is your answer, firstly, do you agree it is not on the approved structure which you showed us yesterday? This is the approved structure that was on the board, on the screen.
Is there no gang unit there? Anti-gang unit?
There is, under serious and violent crimes,
yes.
There's murder and robbery, there's stock theft, there is vehicle crime, and there is taxi violence. That's under serious and violent. Then under organized crime, firearms, economic and illicit mining, there's extortion, there's narcotics, there's transnational, and there's anti-gang.
Yes.
So my question
is there, as you read.
Yes. So my question was, are all these specialist task teams, are they accommodated in this structure?
Yes, but in a reconfigure.
I also want to be fair to you.
Yes.
Are they, because it seems to be your answer also, they integrated into this structure?
Yes, that's the answer.
Okay. So let me come to the question I actually want to ask you. So does that mean that the only specific task team that was disestablished was the political killings task team?
Plus a unit called inspectorate so far.
And I'm looking at the list that is on page 103 of the Marais study of 2024, which is annexure SM2 to your statement. It starts at page 93. Yeah.
So I want to go back. Your earlier question, yes, all these teams that you were reading, unless integrated specifically, they are returning. They are in the new structure. They may be called exactly as they were called in what you were reading or called others, but they are now integrated in the main under a unit called serious and violent crimes. That's number one. And the neighbor, in terms of functionality on the ground of the structure, their neighbor is organized crime. It is there. They work in tandem. But I want to add another feature. You know, there's DPCI, whose main core business is to deal with organized crime in South Africa. So we must guard against overlapping into DPCI. DPCI deals with, I think, 4 and 5 degree crimes. That is serious crimes. And subs deal with first degree, second degree, I think, and third degree, and they share. So there's sharing of responsibilities of organized crime between subs in that form and DPCI, which is a subs component, very important component on organized crime in South Africa. So if you have DPCI, that is the Hawks, dealing and created specifically to deal with serious organized crime, but at higher degrees, and then you have ourselves reconfiguring ourselves in the manner that we have done so, even catering with first and second degree of violent crimes. Why would you have the serious, political killings task team? Why would you have a team? You won't be able to justify it? And also looking at that, it focuses in KZN, and it doesn't focus in one day. We had a meeting, I think, in this room. The honorable member of the portfolio committee of police, Honorable James. For some time we couldn't talk because she raised her voice beyond anything that was alive here, even closing the chair of the portfolio committee. So we had to sit up straight and listen. I didn't treat it as noise. I treated it as a very, very grieving voice, let alone a very grieving voice from a member of parliament.
Yeah, no, she
directed to me,
very passionate,
that I'm not doing enough and I need to answer. And this is the way I'm saying I'm answering. And one day she will see that I was serious when I said I'm addressing the matter. It may take time, and those people who are dying in the Cape Flats, they will know one day that we are taking those matters seriously. And we can't do that via the political killings task team. I'm honest with that. We've got to respond in this fashion. And I'm confident that we will respond. We are responding properly once this structure is implemented.
Okay.
Supervised by us.